It's March 31st. Welcome to YesToHellWith.com. Let's speak about illusions for a moment. The illusion that because someone has a title, he must know what he is doing. Lawyer, judge, expert, guru. Most people hear these words and immediately surrender their judgment. Why? Well, a lawyer was once a child in school and then went to college and then to law school, and then he passed an exam, and suddenly we are expected to believe that he understands the law, that he can protect us, and that we should trust him. But in my own life, I have learned something very different. Lawyers do not know what we think they know. Many of them ask for huge retainers, they waste time, they speak with confidence. But when you press them, when you ask them about authority, jurisdiction, definition, standing, obligation, they often know very little. The same is true of judges. A judge is simply another human being who moved through the same system, high school, college, law school, politics, appointment or election, and then wears a black robe. But the robe does not make him a wise man, a knowledgeable man. And the robe does not make him honest. And the robe does not mean that he understands the truth. Most judges do not question the system that they operate. They apply it. And then there are the gurus. The gurus claim that they have the answer. They sell solutions. They speak with certainty. But most of them only know what they want to believe. Men believe what they wish, after all, and they want us to believe the same as they understand. So we find ourselves surrounded by people who claim authority but often do not deserve it. Lawyers, judges, prosecutors, gurus. The problem is not merely that they may be wrong. The deeper problem is that we have been conditioned to trust them. We have been trained to give credibility to the title instead of examining the process. But the Liberty Dialogues teaches the opposite. Do not trust the title. Examine the process. Because if you understand the process, then you no longer need to rely upon the personalities who often have titles but lack character and understanding and lack honesty. We begin to see where the lawyer fails, and we begin to see where the prosecutor skips over jurisdiction. We begin to see where the judges assume status without proof. We begin to see where the guru gives us a conclusion without showing us the structure underneath it. That is why the Liberty Dialogues exist. Authority, jurisdiction, status, standing, obligation, enforcement. This order is not merely a theory, it is a method by which we can strip away the illusion and see what is really happening. Because once you understand the process, you stop being impressed by appearances. The lawyer no longer intimidates, the judge no longer impresses, the guru no longer seduces. You realize that they are all operating within a system that most of them do not truly understand. And that is where your power begins. We recently spoke about the idea of tabula rasa, a clean slate. What if you looked at the courts with a clean slate? What if you looked at the tax system with a clean slate? What if you looked at lawyers, judges, and gurus with the same, a clean slate, a tabula rasa? You would begin to see that much of what we have accepted is not knowledge. It is habit. It is conditioning. It is the assumption that someone else must know better than we do. But that assumption is often false. The Liberty Dialogues was created so that you no longer have to depend on them. It was created so that you can understand the process for yourself. So that when a lawyer tells you something, you can ask, where is the authority? When a judge speaks, you can ask, where is the jurisdiction? When a prosecutor makes a claim, you can ask, what status is being presumed? What obligation has actually been proven? And where is the record? That is the key. The system survives through presumption, through presumptions and assumptions galore, through the belief that because someone has a title, he must be right. The Liberty Dialogues destroys that illusion because Once you understand the process, you can compel performance. You can compel the lawyer to explain himself. You can compel the judge to follow the law. You can compel the prosecutor to prove his presumptions. And most importantly, you can create your own record, a better record, a stronger record that defeats their record. For the record, for appeal. A record built upon authority, jurisdiction, status, standing, obligation, and enforcement. Their system runs on presumption. I'm going to say it again. Their system runs on presumption. And we need to know that and embrace it. Your defense must run on proof. That is why we document. That is why we create the statement of understanding and the good faith belief components. That is why we preserve our letters, our questions, our statutes, our timelines, and our good faith beliefs. Because when your record is stronger than theirs, you begin to defeat their presumptions. Not all at once, but incrementally, step by step, question by question, record by record, truth by truth. And when we begin to apply the Liberty Dialogues in our own lives, when we train ourselves to think in the proper order and insist upon proof, something remarkable happens. We change. We become informed. We are more prepared. We are more capable. We begin to realize that we are often better equipped to defend what matters most to us than the lawyers, judges, and gurus who claim to possess superior knowledge and solutions. Why? Well, because they rely on their titles. But we rely on process. Those who understand and have used the Liberty Dialogues and applied the framework to their own lives are discovering this every day. They are empowering themselves. And not only themselves, they are empowering others in the States, in Canada, in Australia, across the world. This is becoming a movement of people who no longer surrender their minds and hearts to titles and robes, a movement of people who now possess the real cloak of wisdom, not because they were handed a title, but because they learned the process. The Liberty Dialogues teaches people how to prevail over a presumptive and often corrupt system, not by rage, not by blind belief, but by understanding, by record, by structure, by truth. We must stop assuming that because someone has a title, he deserves our faith. Instead, we must require proof. We must compel performance. We must demand credibility. That is the future. That is the movement. And that is the true purpose of the Liberty Dialogues. And as always, may truth reign supreme.